You won't believe what happened that night. I thought it was just another ordinary evening, but 10 minutes later, my whole world turned upside down. It all started when my sister texted me out of nowhere. She said, "You'll regret this. You'll die poor." At first, I laughed. I mean, really, she always had a flair for drama, right? But there was something off. Something about the way she typed it, like she actually believed it. I shrugged it off and went about my evening. I had a glass of wine in hand, scrolling through my phone, barely paying attention. And then my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't pick it up, but something inside me said I should. "Hello?" I said, trying to sound casual. "Is this John?" the voice on the other end asked. "Yes? Who's this?" I replied, already feeling a pit in my stomach. "This is the Pentagon," the voice said, and for a moment I thought I misheard. The Pentagon? Like the actual Pentagon? I froze. My sister's text flashed in my mind again. "You'll die poor." And suddenly, it didn't feel like a joke anymore. I didn't even know what to say. The voice continued. "You have a pending inheritance, a very substantial one, but it requires your immediate attention." I laughed nervously. "You've got the wrong person." "No," they insisted. "We have your details, and the amount is significant. $156 million. My hand trembled. I set my wine down, staring at the ceiling. My sister. The text. It all clicked. Could she have known something I didn't? I hung up, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was happening that was bigger than me. To understand what happened next, I need to back up a bit. My sister and we weren't exactly close. She had always been competitive, always trying to one-up me in every way. Every accomplishment, every little success. I swear she had to ruin it or overshadow it. And me, I just kept to myself, minding my business. Worked hard, saved up, and tried to stay out of her drama. But apparently, my life wasn't as private as I thought. A few months ago, my grandmother passed away. She was complicated, wealthy, secretive, and ridiculously smart about her money. And she didn't trust my sister. At all. Grandma left me clues about an inheritance. Little things. Cryptic notes in her journals. References in her letters. I never paid too much attention. I thought it was just her way of teasing me. But apparently, she was serious. And my sister, she found out before I did. The next morning, I woke up with my heart racing. I couldn't eat, couldn't focus. I felt like someone had flipped my world upside down. Then my phone buzzed again. This time, it was an email from an official government account. My name, my address, and instructions. I stared at it, unable to breathe. I called my sister. "Why did you send me that text last night?" I asked. My voice was shaking. There was a pause. I didn't know it was real," she stammered. "I just wanted to scare you. I thought it was funny." Funny? $156 million. Funny. I could feel my blood boil, but at the same time, I couldn't ignore what was happening. Someone, somewhere, was serious, and the Pentagon had called. I spent the next hour digging through my grandmother's old files. Old boxes, letters, and encrypted notes. Everything was pointing to one thing: an account hidden under layers of security with enough money to change my life forever. I didn't sleep that night. I barely ate. Every time my phone buzzed, I jumped. Every shadow in my apartment seemed alive. And my sister? She was acting weirdly quiet, almost like she knew what was coming. By the time morning came, I had a plan. I wasn't just going to sit back and wait. This inheritance, it was mine, and no one, not even my sister, was going to take it from me. But I had no idea just how many people were already watching. I was about to make a move that could either secure my future or ruin everything. And I didn't even realize the biggest threat wasn't the government, the accounts, or even the money itself. It was someone closer than I could ever imagine. Subscribe for more stories like this. I started by calling a financial attorney my grandmother had recommended in one of her letters, a man named Harris. Older, gruff, and someone who clearly had dealt with situations like this before. He listened patiently as I explained everything, and then he leaned back, steepling his fingers. He said, "You're sitting on something very dangerous. Not everyone will be happy if this money moves, and you need to be careful who you trust." "Who?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He said, "People close to you." And just like that, my stomach dropped. I confronted my sister again that evening. "Tell me everything you know," I demanded. She looked at me, panic in her eyes. I overheard a phone call. Someone's after Grandma's money. They know you're next." I felt like the ground had been pulled out from under me. "Who?" She shook her head. "I don't know, but you can't trust anyone. Not even people you've known your whole life." And just like that, my world tilted again. My sister, my family, my entire life. It wasn't just about money. It was about survival. By the end of that night, I realized something terrifying. The inheritance wasn't just money. It was a weapon, and everyone around me, including my sister, might use it against me. Subscribe for more stories like this. The next morning, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying my sister's words in my head. Not even people you've known your whole life. I grabbed my laptop and started digging. Old emails, account numbers, letters from Grandma. Every clue she had left seemed like a breadcrumb trail leading to something enormous. Hours passed, and I felt like I was staring into a maze I couldn't escape. But then I found it. A series of codes hidden in one of Grandma's old journals. Not complicated if you knew what to look for, but without a guide, it would have been impossible. I typed them into a secure app I downloaded years ago for privacy reasons. And just like that, a bank account appeared. An offshore account. And the balance? $156 million. I couldn't breathe. This wasn't a number you saw every day, not a number you even imagined. And yet, here it was. Mine. But the moment of triumph didn't last. My phone buzzed. An unknown number. A text appeared. "Stop digging, or you'll regret it." I felt my chest tighten, my hands shook. Whoever this was, they were serious, and they were watching. I looked over at my sister, who was quietly sipping coffee, pretending nothing had happened. But I knew. She knew more than she was letting on. I had two choices: ignore it or fight back. And ignoring it wasn't an option. I called Harris, the attorney. "I need protection. Someone's threatening me over this inheritance." He didn't flinch. I expected that. This isn't just money, it's power. And power makes people desperate. We arranged a secure meeting. Harris advised me to lay low, keep digital and physical security tight, and to trust almost no one, not even family. Even as he spoke, I could feel the tension. Every sound in my apartment seemed amplified. Every knock at the door made my heart race. Then it happened. My sister finally cracked. I didn't just overhear a phone call, she admitted, her voice shaking. I I know who's after it, and it's closer than you think. Who? I demanded. She hesitated, then whispered, It's it's Dad's friend, Mr. Reynolds. He was close to Grandma, and he knows the account. He's been planning this for years. He might even use me without realizing it. I stared at her. Mr. Reynolds? He was a family friend, someone I trusted growing up. And now, he was the enemy. That night, I decided to confront Mr. Reynolds. I couldn't just sit around while he planned to take everything. I found him at a small cafe downtown. He smiled when he saw me. Too calm, too casual. John, I didn't expect to see you here, he said, sipping his coffee. I know what you're up to, I replied. Stop, walk away, or I'll make sure everyone knows. He laughed, a deep, hollow laugh. You really think you can stop this? You have no idea what you're dealing with. The threat hung in the air, heavier than any weight I'd ever felt. Walking back to my apartment, I realized something terrifying. It wasn't just Mr. Reynolds. Someone else was watching me. Someone who knew every move I made. I pulled out my phone. Another text. Stop or lose everything. I knew then this wasn't just about money. This was about power, control, and survival. I had to act fast, but every step I took could be my last. A few days later, I thought I could trust my sister. I told her about a plan to secure the account and go public with it to prevent theft. She nodded, but her eyes, I couldn't read them. Later that night, I got an anonymous tip. Your sister is working with Reynolds. He'll get the account soon. I couldn't believe it. My own sister, the one I thought I could trust, and yet her actions made sense. She had always been jealous of me. She had always wanted more than she could earn herself. I felt my world collapse again, but I couldn't afford to break down. I had to outsmart them both. I contacted Harris and explained everything. He nodded grimly. We're going to need a strategy, and you're going to have to play the smart. No mistakes. We set up a series of digital traps, alerts, and decoys. Every move I made was calculated. Every communication monitored. I became almost paranoid, checking my devices, my emails, even my apartment for hidden cameras. And then came the night of the final move, the night I would either secure my inheritance or lose everything. I walked into that office, heart pounding, knowing they were waiting. Mr. Reynolds, my sister. All the secrets, all the lies, and me. And then, in the voice I didn't expect, my sister said, "It's your turn to lose." I froze. And that's when I realized the game wasn't just about money. It was about trust, betrayal, and survival. And only one of us would walk out alive. Subscribe to find out more. I took a deep breath and stepped into the office. The lights were dim, the air thick with tension. Mr. Reynolds leaned back in his chair, a smug smile plastered on his face. My sister stood beside him, arms crossed, her eyes cold and calculating. "Your move," she said, her voice steady, but with just a hint of nervousness. I felt my heart pounding, but I forced myself to stay calm. Every move I'd made up to this point had led to this moment. Every trap, every digital decoy, every warning, it all mattered now. "You underestimated me," I said, pulling out my laptop. "Everything you planned, it's already been recorded. Their smiles faltered. I pressed a few keys and projected a screen onto the wall. Every secret email, every bank transfer, every plan they tried to hide, it was all there, clear as day. My sister's face went pale. She... I, I didn't think you'd... She stammered. You didn't think I'd outsmart both of you, I said. But I did. Every step you took, I was one step ahead. She looked at Reynolds, then at me, panic creeping in. I had to. I didn't want to lose everything, she whispered. You already did, I replied coldly. But it's not too late to make this right. I hit another key, and suddenly alarms blared outside the office. Security personnel stormed in. I had prearranged everything with Harris. They were there to secure the premises and ensure no one escaped. Reynolds lunged toward me, but the doors slammed shut behind him. My sister froze, realizing she had nowhere to run. You played your game, but this is mine, and I don't lose. Under pressure, my sister finally broke down. She admitted everything, how Reynolds had manipulated her, how greed had blinded her, and how she regretted every decision. Reynolds tried to talk his way out, but the evidence was overwhelming. Harris had already contacted authorities. In a matter of minutes, they were handcuffed and taken away. I felt a strange mix of relief and sadness. My sister wasn't evil, she'd just been weak. But I learned something. Trust is fragile, and even the closest people can betray you. The next few days were a whirlwind. Legal documents, bank approvals, and security arrangements. Finally, I could claim the account. $156 million. But money wasn't the point anymore. The lessons I learned, the danger I faced, and the strength I discovered in myself, that was priceless. I secured the inheritance in a way that no one could ever threaten again. And for my sister, I decided to forgive her, but with boundaries. Some lines should never be crossed again. Sitting in my office, looking at the city lights, I realized how much had changed. I wasn't just the heir to a fortune. I was someone who could face betrayal, danger, and fear, and come out stronger. And as for Mr. Reynolds and the schemes of the past, gone. I leaned back, exhaled, and smiled. Life would never be the same, but for the first time, I felt in control. I had survived. I had won. And one thing was certain. I would never let anyone manipulate me again. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who can hurt you the most. But if you stay smart, stay cautious, you can survive anything. Subscribe to see more unbelievable stories where trust, betrayal, and survival collide.